Okay, so unfortunately, Jordan cannot be here in person. Good question. But he's going to do a live original Skype presentation, and it's going to be. All right, Mary, you ready to call him? You guys ready to call him? All right, here we go. Now I'm going to put you guys on camera too. Is he going to pick up? Don't worry, I talked to him right before this. He's in the bathroom, yeah, great. Say hello. Hi, Jordan.
Hi there. You hear me?
We sure can. What are you in, a sandwich?
About time. Huh? So anyway, where are we? What are we doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Maxwell. Jordan.
Well,
Why are you not here? First question.
Say it again?
Why are you not here with us? We want you to be here.
Well, I haven't been old here in a long time to start with. 75 years old, and it's dangerous now in my home country for me to go anywhere, so I stay home and stay out of the way, because I've traveled all over the world and did the best I could. And so now I find it to be safer just to stay home and stay out of the way, because all the things that I've been warning about for the last 55 years are now finally here, and I'm really not up to it. So I just stay home and stay out of the way. I'm too old and too tired to fight anymore. Only thing I have to give to the world is knowledge. Advice, I don't really have a whole lot, but I do the best I can. I do radio shows, and I don't do a whole lot of them either. Hold on just a minute. I do radio shows on occasions now, but not a whole lot. And I thought at one time I would like to do my own show, and I have a podcast, but I haven't been able to do much on that, for a long time now, because I'm being I'm being attacked from all sides by people who do not want me talking, and I understand. I don't have any problem with that, but so I do the best I can. But this is kind of a novel idea that we came up with for me to do do a show from remote. I've done a lot of Skype radio, but I've never done an actual lecture or talk before an audience doing it this way. But it's going to have to be done this way, because I will never be able to speak before a live audience again. I won't be able to do that ever again. The reason why is because it's very dangerous now. I live in a very dangerous time for my life, so I need to be very careful where I go and what I do anymore, because for me it's very dangerous now. It has become a very dangerous world for me to live in. I know too much. And when you know too much, you can cause yourself trouble by talking too much. So,
Well, Jordan,
anyway,
we're glad you're here in this capacity, brother. Let's get into the gist and the bulk of your conversation today, if you will. I know you have some stuff prepared. I know you have some research that you really want to clue us into. Let's just get right into it.
well, again, you'll have to appreciate the fact that I am under pressure as to what I can say in public anymore. Used to, many years ago, I could talk very freely, but not anymore. So the question has come up a long time ago in my mind. How important is it to tell people the truth? Excuse me. Think about that. How important is it to tell people the truth? And the reason I bring that up is because today, as I said, it's become very, very difficult to tell people the truth because, first of all, most people don't want to know the truth, and most people can't handle the truth, like the movie, you know. And so all I can say, and all I would like for the audience to know, I don't care how you accept what I say. I don't care if even if you do accept what I say. I don't care how you feel about what I say. That's one of the nice things about being 75 years old. I just will tell you what I think, whether it offends you or not. But I feel that people are not interested in knowing the truth about much of anything until trouble comes. And when trouble comes, now people want to have answers. But that's not the way it works in life. You know, you have to prepare yourself for what the future holds. And so, but what I would say, the bottom line on this is that everything we have been taught is just not true. America is the most well-informed, highly advanced, well-informed country in the world. The only problem is 99% of what we know is not true. You know, but we, but thank God we do have, one thing we got going for us is that we do have computers that can think for themselves, which is great because the people can't. So, and the whole nation can't think for itself. And so, you know, while we're very proud in America to say that we have the right to elect our leaders, the problem is you can't select your leaders. You can only elect. And so, break down the words. I mean, my God, we could talk for days on these different subjects I've talked about. Words. We humans, there have been books written about this. We humans are word controlled. We're controlled by words. And so we need to look at the etymology and the beginnings of ideas, concepts, and words, and where they come from, what these words mean. You know, my God, probably everybody in the audience has heard me talking about this subject. And so that's another thing I have to deal with, is I don't want to go over stuff that I've talked about that people have heard. But there are certain subjects which are very important, and I don't mind repeating them because they're so important. And words are very important to how we respond to each other, how we respond to government and banking and everything else. So I've just suggested that people should be aware that the whole world is being misled with words and terms. And so I don't know where to go with this because I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man though that's what I am.
It's too late.
But you know, but I don't want to sound despondent, but that I am, because I realize and I know that the people are hurting around the world. But you know, I came across some interesting ideas and interesting concepts that I wanted to share with you. Machiavelli, in his book, chapter 3 of The Prince, Machiavelli made an interesting comment, and I'm paraphrasing this. It's not from the book. He said basically, in any government, when fascist criminals begin to show themselves, the government, if it acts quickly and decisively, will be able to put down an end to this kind of activity. But if nothing is done to expose and stop this kind of treason against the people, then one day totalitarian corporate fascism is allowed to continue and grow, then human dignity and freedom will ultimately be lost forever. So I'm breaking all of this down. Basically what he was saying is that when you see something wrong in government, when you see something wrong in your city or in your family, whatever it is, if it's allowed to go on, it will only get worse. It's going to feed on itself and get bigger and bigger until one day you're not going to be able to do anything about it. It's going to be too big. And Winston Churchill went on to say this. He said, if you're not willing to fight for what is right when you can easily win, and you will not, and your victory is sure, you may come to the moment when you will have to fight, and there is no hope for victory. But it's better to fight than to perish as slaves. So basically what I'm saying is that most people want to know the truth about what they want to know. They don't want to know the whole truth. And the whole truth is the entire human society that we have grown up in Western civilization for the past, I'd say 2,500 years, has been based on secret societies, secret agreements, all kinds of hidden words and terms to manipulate the people. The Romans in the Roman Empire were famous for doing that. And so this is what I've been trying to do for years, is just wake people up and tell them, go do something you've never done before. Do something really interesting. Go to the library and read a book. Do something important, you know. And so I don't know if your audience has any questions, because there's so many things I would like to talk about, but no matter what these subjects are that I would like to talk about, it would take an hour or two just to prepare the audience for what I want to say. And we don't have that much time. So if there's any questions in particular, maybe I could entertain some questions.
What? Mary, come on, Mary.
Come on, Mary.
What did he ask me? Questions? Yeah, start forming a line right by Kyle,
Right over
the
here.
sound guy. Jordan, how was your sandwich? That's my first question.
Say it again.
No, okay. All right.
Hi, Jordan. I have a question. I was wondering, how did you go from being a Catholic to being a Jehovah's Witness? How did you get involved with the Jehovah's Witness? Did you hear that?
You need to say that again because
How did you go from being Catholic to being a Jehovah's Witness? How did you get involved with the Jehovah's Witness Church?
So Jordan, I've asked you this before. There's a lot of people out there that want to know your involvement with the Jehovah's Witness Church. You've told me you are not involved or haven't been involved with the Jehovah's Witness. Can you settle that for us today? After you take a nice drink of water. This is Marco Rubio, not Jordan Maxwell, by the way.
all right. And you're sure it's water?
Excuse me.
Anyway. I'll drink to that. Yeah, let me tell you something about Jehovah's Witnesses, because I was a Jehovah's Witness
Oh, you
for
were?
many
Okay.
years. I have always said, and a lot of people have heard me saying that I am not the world's foremost authority on anything, because I know how much I don't know. But if I were to claim that I was better informed on any subject than a lot of people, and that would be Jehovah's Witnesses. Because I've done a lot of work with Jehovah's Witnesses. I know a lot about them. Not only was I one, but I've had some incredible experiences with Jehovah's Witnesses. For one thing, I was invited to go to live at Bethel and personally asked by 2 members of the governing body to come to live at Bethel and be in charge of the research department of the Watchtower Bible Tract Society. Even at a very early age, just like 21, 22, 23 years old. But they had already encountered me and knew of my interest in ancient religions and words and terms, etc. And so I was invited to go to New York to be in their research department. At the time, I thought that was very nice. That's a nice, gesture, but I'm not sure that I want to do that. And now, of course, I know why. But we did go to New York when I was married. We went to New York, and I did spend 2 or 3 days at the Watchtower Society, sitting and talking with the elders and the governing body. I can tell you some very interesting things about Jehovah's Witnesses. One is that I think that probably 1/2 of Jehovah's Witnesses around the world are wonderful people, dear and sweet and wonderful people, and I love them. They've always been very courteous and kind, and I know them. That's 1/2. The other half, I'm not sure they know what they're doing, and the elder arrangement, the older men in the congregation, that's very, very, very.
Yeah, it's a great audience, man. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to connect to the internet again. Let's see here. We'll introduce him to everyone here, will you, Mary? She's going to bring Jordan around to see you. You could shake his hand. That's great. Please, please. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm back again.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
So let's get some more questions here. The next question, please.
Well,
You want to hear the end of that? All right. So there are good people in the Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, let me
And-
stick with them.
Go for it. Sorry.
You're in Philadelphia, aren't you?
City of Brotherly Love. Yes.
Okay, well, that's the city of brotherly love, and that's very heavily connected to Jehovah's Witnesses, but not in the way you think. First of all, the city of brotherly love, it does not have anything to do with people loving themselves. No, brotherly love in that context is talking about a Masonic order, Freemasons, they're called brothers, and this is why in Jehovah's Witnesses, the men are called brothers. It's because it's a Masonic organization. It's a quasi-Masonic organization. So when you talk about the city of brotherly love, you need to go back and here's something that everybody needs to do. It's for free, and you better do it now while it's free. There's a book that you can get a download for free, an e-book on the web called Fire in the Minds of Men. Fire in the Minds of Men. And if you go on the web to fireinthemindsofmen.pdf, it will pop up automatically and it will download very quickly, automatically. It's an extraordinarily important book that you really have to have because it explains the world in which you are now living in America and around the world, what's actually going on. Let me tell you something about this book. The author is James Billington, Billington, Billington. And James Billington today is the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. So you don't get any better than that. He has a whole chain of PhDs and doctorates from all over the world. The guy is an incredibly brilliant writer and a historian. But what he has done in this book, which is a free download, all you got to do is go to the web and type it in, Fire in the Minds of Men, and it'll download, and it will amaze you what's in this book. He explains how the world works and goes back to 300 to 400 years ago, all the secret societies, fraternal orders, all of the backroom deals that have been made around the world, and how the government is put together, how the religions, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, Worldwide Church of God, Christadelphians, all of these American quasi-Masonic religions that have been developed based on the British Israel World Federation out of London, and the connections with MI5, MI6 to all of these major religions like Mormons and Seventh-day Adventists, as I said, and especially Jehovah's Witnesses. So if you want to understand how this stuff works in religion, you need to get the book Fire in the Minds of Men, because he has broken down all of this dark secret stuff and put it in such plain English anyone can understand it. It's an extraordinary book, and I don't know how in the world that he was able to get this thing published, because it is really an expose on religion and government in the past 400 to 500 years, and how we are, what we are today, where we are, where we're going. So it's an extraordinary story.
Next question, please.
Yes. Say it again?
Hold on one second, Jordan. Here we go.
Yep.
Hi, Jordan. I totally respect you, and you have been part of my awakening process, if not the primary principle behind it. My question is, in your years of research, are there any countries left that are not under the thumb of the controlling class?
So how about that? What countries are left in this new world order?
What countries are left?
Yeah, which ones are not under the controlling thumb, if any?
I would say none. I would say none. I would say every country in the world is too far gone. It's way too far gone. So don't think about where you can go to get away from world tyranny. Ain't gonna happen. It's already here, and it's all locked in. It's been here since 1878. Yeah, 1878, 1879. And by now, it's all over the world. There's nothing we can do, nothing we can do. Now, I know that people don't want to hear that, but I might as well tell you the truth. I'm like an old grandfather that I guess needs to tell the kids the truth, is that there is no way out of this new world order. Why? Because it's been going on since 1878. It was actually started back in 1848 with Karl Marx and a group of people in England called the League of Just Men. It's a long story, and a lot of it is in that book I just told you about that you need to get it and read it. But there is no country in the world today that is not under the heel of the New World Order. But there's something you need to know about the New World Order. It's not political as such. It has political connections, but it actually has to do with something far, far more ancient, far more deeper, and it has to do with spiritual connections. We're talking about demonic stuff. We're talking about ancient occult religions connecting humans to extraterrestrial or other world entities. Every religion on the face of the earth even Buddhism and all of the spiritual practices, all will admit that there is some sort of a spiritual presence on the earth. Christians call them demons, devils, and ghosts. We call them poltergeists, sons of God, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call that world that we can't see but is as real as we are. That world has been manipulating and exploiting our human ignorance and stupidity for thousands of years. And that spiritual world, is now in total control of the earth. And so it's the time for mankind to wake up to the reality that we are not exactly what you think, because this calls into question, who are we humans really? Where did we come from? And what is this story going on behind our backs about other world intelligences that we can't see? And if you don't believe things like this exist, go down to Haiti and watch the shaman priest. Go to Brazil, go to South America, Central America, and watch the shaman priest and what they can do. I've seen incredible stuff, which implies that there is a spiritual dynamics and a spiritual presence on the earth that causes mankind to go the way it wants them to go. And most people are so arrogant, proud and arrogant and self-assuming that they have no time to look at anything like this. It's all a bunch of malarkey. Well, in point of fact, it's not. And the people who are running this planet today are heavily involved in the dark side.
Sure.
So, and I think we're all probably waking up to that by now. So it's a spiritual problem we've got.
Absolutely. Next question, please.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Maxwell. Big fan for a long time, and one of the things that I've always really paid attention when you speak is specifically about courts, and when you talk about the justice system and the legal system and whatnot. And I've been studying myself for a long time, and you said something earlier that really struck a chord. I'm not sure so much if this is a question more than a comment, but you said you're at this point you're too old to fight, but you mentioned what Machiavelli said and talked about how if we don't fight for the little things and we let it keep going, it eventually gets out of control and it becomes the way it is. And the first thing that came to mind was municipal courts, for instance. We walk around as these slaves and we're subject to these rules and regulations that are pretty arbitrary and most of the time senseless and ridiculous. And under the threat of deadly force, we're forced to comply and consent whether we like to or not. And so I've recently kind of put some of the things I've learned from you and many other people into action in my own life, and I have the idea that together as a people we can nullify municipal courts, because I see that as one of the biggest obstacles to the human existence and the human condition. So I kind of just want to get your take and your feedback on that. I'll just tell you very quickly. What I did recently was I got pulled over for making for going through a stop sign on my bicycle, a pedal bicycle. And this asshole cop wound up giving me a ticket after I pulled the whole thing like I'm not going to identify myself, this is ridiculous. And I was very respectful. And so I took some people to court with me. And I think Bob might have seen the video.
Yeah, but you got to bottom line this, brother.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's what I wanted to get your take on that, is if we as a people together kind of put some of that stuff into practice and stand up in these courts and tell them we're no longer going to take their shit, like, is that going to work?
Can we stand up?
Well, you'll have to translate that for me because I wasn't hearing too much of it.
The courts, taking things to the courts and standing up in that
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
capacity.
That's one hell of a subject. For myself, I've been talking about this idea of the courts and the whole judicial system for many, many years. I would suggest that right now, at this particular time in America's history, that if you get a parking ticket, just pay it. If you get some kind of a little infraction, just pay it. Don't fight anything in court. That's just my opinion. But I would not fight anything in a court anywhere. If a situation is big enough that it's fighting for itself, like my lawsuit. I have a huge lawsuit going on right now with 3 different attorneys defending me. But I would not myself bring anything to a court ever again. So, and the reason why is because the world has changed. Since 9/11, all laws have been changed. That was one of the major reasons why 9/11 had to happen. It had to happen because all the laws needed to be changed for the new world order. All the laws needed to be changed. So after 9/11, nothing works the way it did before. And of course, even before it was terrible. But now for sure, after 9/11, I would not even walk into a court. I would have nothing to do with it because it is too far gone. And so unless you were Donald Trump and can pay a lot of money to a lot of people, you know, lawyers to fight for you, I've said so many times, a court is like playing basketball on a court, playing tennis on a court. How do you play tennis on a court? You play with a racket. So the idea being is that I would not have anything to do with courts anymore. So if you get in trouble, just pay the fine and leave it.
Okay, great.
Because you're just asking for trouble.
Great. Next question, please.
Jordan, we'd all like to thank you for what you do. Quick question. For a group of people like us gathered here, what is the use or function of belief?
What is the use or function of a belief, Jordan?
It's mostly to make people feel secure in themselves, because we humans have to, beliefs basically, especially religious beliefs. I have said in the past, and I think it's true, and I'll say it again, I believe that religious beliefs are like whistling as you're walking through the graveyard.
Next question, please.
About the Greco-Roman world, would you have any advice or suggestions for choosing a topic for a dissertation for somebody who is studying Greek and Latin? Or,
For somebody who's studying Greek or Latin, would you have advice for them on a dissertation?
Latin is very important. Both Greek and Latin are very important. No, I just think it's a very good idea to know both Greek and Latin, especially Latin, because all law, all government, all of our systems of religion, government, banking, the whole system is based on Latin. And but when you talk about Latin, Latin was the name for the planet Saturn. Thousands of years ago, the planet Saturn was called Latin. That's a very interesting, that's a whole story in itself about the planet Saturn and how it dominates our everyday world, and how Latin is the basis for so much of our institutional education and laws and banking and everything else. So Latin is very important.
Next question, please.
Yes, Jordan, you have said before that people have come to you and said things like, we're going to murder you if you don't shut up. Is that understood? And I hate to bring this up and all, but you say you live in fear and all that, but I have spoken to people that have like blown the whistle on things and exposed corruption and such, and they haven't been threatened. And I ask them why. And they say, well, because I make it clear to the powers that be that I'm not going to give in, and I basically tell them, I don't care how much you threaten me, I'm not going to shut up, you're going to have to kill me at all to make me shut up. So would it be fair to assume that if you and all the other people who have gotten threatened were to actually make it clear, listen, I'm not going to shut up, you're not going to stop me, and I'm going to fight you to the death, they're not going to threaten us anymore?
Jordan, are you suicidal?
Hey,
Say
other
that
people
again.
did say that they aren't getting threatened because they made it clear they're not going to give in. So
I'm joking. Thank you. Jordan, what do you think? Is there information that you're holding back on that maybe if you were to put out there would protect you by putting it out there? Because if they were to come after you and kill you at that point, it would only validate some of your claims and some of your research.
Oh, absolutely. no doubt about it. But you see, I'm not interested in being killed, so I'm not even going to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. Next question, please.
Yeah, Jordan, can you tell us what the status is with Joe Dolezal, if you resolve that, and where can we get the real Jordan Maxwell material online?
All right, so people want to know your website was stolen, they were usurping your name, you're in the lawsuit. Kind of just real briefly, bring us up to speed with that.
Yeah, I was 70 years old, and I lost my my webmaster was a real criminal, and so I finally got rid of him. It took a long time, but I finally got rid of him. And so but now I'm 70 years old. I don't know anything about the technology of today. I just do what I do. And so a young man comes along and comes to visit me, and he sees that I'm living in one room with nothing. And I tell him about my situation with my website being stolen, and I finally got it back. So he said, "Oh my God," he said, "I just love what you're doing. Let me help you. I'll take care of it for you." So I needed somebody. 70 years old, I don't know anything about the technology, so I said, "Okay, would you help me, and I'll give you 50% of the gross of any money that I make on my work. I'll give you 50% of the gross if you'll just help me." "Oh, absolutely, no problem at all. I'll take care of that." And so in order for him to be my webmaster, I had to give him the username and the password. Well, I've discovered that when you do that, you have just might as well put a gun to your head, because you've now given the secret to your website, to your bank account, to your email, to everything you have worked for. You just gave it to somebody you don't know who came in off the street. Then I found out, after giving him the codes to my website, he went in quietly behind my back, 70 years old, I didn't know, and changed the ownership of my website to himself. And then he redirected my bank account to his bank account. Then he redirected my emails to himself. So that now he, for the past 5 years, has made every dime, every nickel comes to my website, goes to his private bank account. Every private email coming to me from all over the world for 5 years has gone directly to him. And he answers my emails as if he's me, and asks for money. He asks for donations. He's selling my products. And so he's stolen everything. He's copyrighted
Jordan,
all of my work. So the bottom line on this is very simple. Everything I own has been stolen from me by a ponytail criminal with a crime record a mile long. I didn't know that. I just trusted him as a young man. Now I know I made a very bad mistake, and so he's taken everything I own and left me with nothing.
And they want to know this criminal's name.
Oh, Joe Dolezal, Dolezal. Dolezal.
He
The whole
just got
family
more
has got.
publicity than I think he needed, but okay.
But I was saying that the whole family is from the Czech Republic.
I looked into it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
And he's got a
they are
son or
criminals.
something, or they got the father. They're all criminals. I looked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and so I found out now that there's nothing I can do about it, because the courts tell me, they say, look did you give him the username and the password? Yes, I did. Sorry, that's it. You've lost.
Awesome. Well, not so awesome. Next question, please. Next question, please.
All right, Jordan. I recently heard you on another podcast, and you mentioned for people to look up the word capital and how their heads will be blown away by what they find, like capital as in capitalism, capitalists, all these people that still think that a different way of money is the way to go. Can you hint at what you were referring to with people looking into capital?
Break down the word capital for us, please, Jordan.
Well, there are two ways of spelling capital. So what are you asking?
Well,
There's a-
when
there's
we
a
heard
capital of
capital
the
as in
country.
money, CAPITOL. Did I spell that right? I hope so. Did I spell it wrong?
Yeah, there's capital in relation to money, and there's capital in relation to the head of a government. Yeah. So what about it? What do you want to know about the word capital?
Well, what's the background of the word? I guess he heard your podcast and you mentioned that the true meaning of it is mind-boggling.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the whole subject is mind-boggling because you are capital. You yourself. You know, most people don't realize the way commerce works in the world. And I know you probably have heard it all, but there's a lot of people who haven't. And so you're, by law right now, every single person in this country is a corporation. It's a company. And therefore, you're in business. And that's a whole story, and I've done it so many times, I'm sure nobody wants to hear it again. But you are a corporation, and so that's why if I see you with some girl, I one night I tell you the next day, you know, the girl you were with last night, she's bad company. And you say, mind your own business. Business, company? Yeah. And then I find out you're going to get married, so she's going to be your partner, business, company. We're talking commerce. Look up the word commerce in a law dictionary. Commerce has nothing to do, the first understanding of commerce goes back to the Latin. Commerce is sex, period. Spelled S-E-X. That's commerce in law. And so that's why you opening up a whole can of worms when you get into banking and commerce and marriage. You know, a marriage is simply two corporations doing business together. Of course, it's none of my business, but it's business. And if your business does not work out, you know, a lot of times businesses get together and it don't work out. Well, if it don't work out, your business with the woman you're married, well, that's your business, not my business. But you're not going to go to God. You're going to go to court and bring your money and your house and your car. It has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with love. We're talking business. So once you understand that everything you do is commerce, did you know, for instance, that all laws, all crime, I should say, petty crime, federal crimes, state crimes, commercial crimes, it doesn't matter. If it's a crime of any kind, it's called by law commerce. It's a business. And therefore, every crime, there's a book that judges get. I don't have one. It's very difficult to find one. But there's a book that all judges have that will tell you, I've seen the book before, I wish I had it, that will tell you every crime that a human can make, what level, if it's federal, state, county, whatever, and that each one of those crimes carries a charge. This is why you're going into court and you're going to be charged with something. Well, that's what you do with a credit card. You charge something with a credit card, and therefore you got to pay. Well, that's right. You got to pay your debt to society. You've been charged. And so every crime is, in fact of law, is commerce. It's a business, and you can buy it. You can buy your way out of it. If you got enough money and you kill someone, I'm telling you, you can pay the fine. Find out how much the fine is and pay the fine. It may be a couple $1 million, but if you got it, you can pay it, and you're out. You paid the price.
Wow. Next question, please.
Would you be able to share with us some etymological resources so we can understand words better?
Did you catch that?
Say it again.
Would you be able-
Etymological resources. Understanding.
Oh yeah. Well, there's actually 2 or 3 really nice ones on the web. Just put in etymology on the web, and it pops up etymology dictionaries. There's 3 or 4 very good ones out there, very, very well done, that breaks down all kinds of words. But what I think you're looking for is the occult or hidden etymology of words that I talk about, the hidden or occult use of words. That's a little different. That's the kind of thing you have to find out the hard way. I've been on that track, following the hidden implications of legal words and all that kind of thing. That's a little different. There's a couple of places on the web that are now finally talking about the occult origins of these hidden words and what they really mean in court and what they actually mean, not what you thought they meant. And, I'm at a loss as to where to find them now, but I know that there is. Look on the web for occult etymology of words, and especially words in commerce. Very important stuff.
All right, thank you. Next question.
Hey, Jordan. I want to send a lot of love and appreciation your way. So my question is, with the word magic and with the like straw man identity, it seems like the tools of the occult work from the level of energy and influence of physical manifestation. So the dark occult takes the organic systems and creates a subsystem, and that is where we're in limitation. So I would like to ask respectfully, what do you think happens when we die, and do you think that unconditional love is the highest energy and is what we really are?
Talk about a good question. Geez, what happens when we die, Jordan?
I'm not really sure because I haven't done it before.
So you don't believe in reincarnation, obviously. What
I
about
didn't say that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
you said that.
You
I
haven't done
didn't
it-
say that. I tend to think that there is something to this idea of reincarnation. Now, let me explain something to you about reincarnation. There are two different schools of thought concerning reincarnation. The phenomena that we call reincarnation, the idea that we're talking about, is that somebody today can tell us exactly and correctly something that happened 300, 400, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and they are exactly correct in what they're saying, but nobody on earth knows that until one day you're doing a dig in some foreign country and find the evidence for what that person's been saying, that they said they lived 500 years ago, and they said this and that was happening. Nobody knew it until we did a dig and found evidence that exactly what they were saying did happen. So now that's what I refer to as the phenomena of reincarnation. How did that person know? Because obviously you've got to answer that question. How did they know something that you didn't know, the world didn't know? And why? Well, I asked them and they'll tell you they were there. They lived there. So obviously there's something to that. Now, I am saying no, not necessarily. There's another answer that's equally as valid, and that is, if you understand that there has always been spirit entities, demons, devils, spirits, poltergeists, angels, ghosts, I don't care what you call it, whatever that other world of life is out there, whatever it is. Now, even I don't know of any religion or philosophy in the world that doesn't acknowledge that there are spirit entities that, what Christians and Jews call demons and devils, angels. But maybe they were there 1,000 years ago and they saw things. We today can record with digital and tape recordings and digital recording. We can record a person, put it on you, record you talking, and play it back 100 years from today, and you look just as real when you were there. So I'm saying that if we can record digitally perfectly everything you say and do, the look on your face, etc., and play it back 100 years, who is to say that there are not spirit entities, angels, demons, whatever you want to call them, that were around 1,000 years ago, and they know exactly what was going on. in minute detail, then they have some kind of a way that they can tap into your spirit, because your brain is simply an electrical computer. Your body is a bioelectrical battery, and your brain is a computer. So we know that we have things called Wi-Fi. You don't have to even plug into a computer to be able to connect with it. So I'm saying that there's at least a possibility that there are spirit entities who were there, 1,000 years ago and saw something and are now putting it into your mouth. They're speaking through you. And you are telling people something that's true, but you weren't there. Somebody else was there, and they're playing you for a fool. They're using you as a tool. And so they're putting it into your mind to say things. And so, again, I would say not necessarily were you there. So what are we talking about when we talk about reincarnation? I'm not really sure. But I do know this, that if you want to look at the Bible is filled with reincarnation. Especially the New Testament is replete with stuff about reincarnation. So if you want to follow the teachings of Jesus, well, then you're going to believe in reincarnation. I mean, Jesus himself was reincarnated, right? If he came back from the dead, and he sat and had dinner with people and talked with them, and and walked around town and said hello to everybody. Well, he was dead, a week ago, and now he's back here now. Well, what do you call that? Oh, well, that's resurrection. No, it's reincarnation, airhead. So
wow. I've never thought about it that way. That's fascinating. All right, Jordan, we're almost out of time, and we're going to do 3 last quick questions, rapid fire style. We'll start with you. Go ahead.
Rapid fire, it's a 2-part question. One is, can we go back to the etymology of select and elect? Because I don't think we got that from you. And is there somewhere we can go to find your work that the monies would go directly to you rather than to the thief?
All right, so select and elect, the etymology behind that, and the...
Say that again.
What's the real website? Let's tackle that. What's the real website?
Okay. My real website now is Jordan Maxwell Show, SHOW. Very simple. JordanMaxwellShow.com. And let me take a moment to tell you that when you go on JordanMaxwellShow.com, I have a new website connected to it, and it's called Research Society. So if you click on Research Society, there's a button there. You can join my Research Society, because the Jordan Maxwell Show is just a podcast. But on that podcast, I have a new research website in which I am now downloading all of my research into this Research Society website. Why? Because lawyers have told me, and this is important for you to know too, lawyers have explained to me that there is a public and private venue in this world. And when you are speaking to the public, you're in public venue, you can be you can be arrested, you can be put in jail for what you say in public. But if you are in private, like if you have an organization, if you're in the Ku Klux Klan and you are having a private meeting, you can say anything you want, no matter how dirty, no matter how obscene. You can say anything you please, as long as you're talking to a private group that wants to hear you. There's no law against anything you say. That's up to you to say whatever you want to say. But if you're going to take that, if you're going to do the same thing in the public venue, go out in the public and use those words and start talking, that's different. And so there's a very big difference between talking about things you're not supposed to talk about in public as opposed to in private. If I tell you something in private, nobody's going to know but you and me. But if I go on the radio and start telling you something you're not supposed to know, we're both in trouble. So that's why I have been advised by my attorneys to create a website in which I can download all of my work, anything I want to say, put it all out there, as long as it's in private. Because this way I'm protecting myself, because a lot of things I want to talk about, a lot of things I really want to show the public can get me in trouble. And a lot of people don't understand that. I get in trouble by talking too much, And it's very good radio. It's very good radio to have somebody on who's talking about some really dark, juicy things that are really everybody wants to hear about. But when the show is over, 3 or 4 days later, people have forgotten all about what I said. But I am now in trouble. Personally, I'm in trouble now with government or with people who are going to, deal with me for talking in public about things I'm not supposed to talk about. So that's why I created this website. So if you want to follow my work, go on Jordan Maxwell Show. Stay away from jordanmaxwell.com. That was stolen from me. Jordan Maxwell Show, and join my research society. It's only $30 for a lifetime subscription. Other people charge $300 and $400 a year. For me, I'm just doing it for $30 for a lifetime subscription, and I'm downloading everything I've got.
Awesome.
And I'm keeping it in private.
Jordan, how do we know you're really Jordan Maxwell? Yeah,
That's funny. It sounds funny, but I know what you're actually saying. The person asking that is that there's so much confusion as to which website is really mine. Well, my thinking is, if you're hearing my voice and you're seeing my face, and I'm on.
No, technology now could clone you, Jordan. We don't know about that, brother. JordanMaxwellShow.com. Last question of the evening, please. Thank you. For Jordan, anyways. And then we're going to get right into the next talk.
Peace, Jordan. Longtime student of yours. My question is, recently I heard a podcast of yours on Frater X's The Middle Chamber. And on that podcast, you spoke of an incredible symbol that is right in front of humanity's face. So powerful, you said this symbol is that it has the opportunity to awaken and empower humanity. Yet you never divulged that information.
What is this symbol you were talking about, Jordan? Tell us.
Yeah, right. I found it back in 1967. That's over 50 years ago. 1967, I found this symbol. And I knew at the time it was extremely important. I just didn't understand what it was, but I knew it was important. And I've stayed with it for over 50 years, researching it, studying it. And I talked with Alex Jones a couple of times about it on the Alex Jones show. And he even talked about coming to see me in Los Angeles and helping me to put together a presentation on that. Well, I've got the presentation in my computer. I've been working on it for 50 years. I've got it done. It's just that it's taking so long because I don't have the funds to do anything with. The kids stole my money, so I don't have the funds to do it right. Hopefully, I'll be able to put it together and make it available as a video on my website. So just keep checking with JordanMaxwellShow.com. And as soon as it's ready.
No. What's the symbol?
That's a trade secret. Why would I tell you? Because this is going to be an extraordinary revelation when you see it.
All right, we're on the edge of our seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please say thank you to Jordan Maxwell. Hi, Jordan. One more thing. I can't, unfortunately, I unplugged him. Hold on. Try it again.
I said, if you're really interested in my work, go on my website, Jordan Maxwell Show, and join my research society, because that's where I'm going to be dumping all of my work. You're going to see it all, but keeping it in private. So thank you again for allowing me to be with you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Bye-bye.